Have you ever opened your phone just to check one message and then realized an hour has already gone by? You scroll, you like, you comment, and somehow you feel empty afterward. You see people living their best lives, traveling, smiling, showing success, and you start to wonder, what about me? Why does my life feel less exciting? This is not your fault, my friend. It's the design of social media itself. It's not just an app, it's a trap made of likes, shares, notifications, and endless scrolling. But here's the truth most people never realize. The less time you spend on social media, the more time you have to build your real life. In this video, we're going to explore what really happens when you start living without social media. The freedom, the focus, and the peace that comes when you escape this invisible prison. You'll discover how your life can feel fuller, calmer, and more meaningful when you reclaim your attention. So stay with me till the end, because by the time you finish, you might look at your phone in a completely different way. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to English Achieve, hit the like button, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a motivational lesson that can help you improve your life and your English, step by step. Part 1. The Trap We Don't See. Social media began as something beautiful. It was supposed to connect us, to bring people closer, and to make communication easier and faster. It was meant to help friends stay in touch, to let families see each other's smiles across distance, and to give a voice to those who wanted to share their stories. But somewhere along the way, something changed. What was once a bridge between people slowly turned into a trap. A digital world designed to capture our attention, control our emotions, and quietly steal our time. When you open a social media app, it feels harmless. You just want to check a few posts, maybe reply to a message or watch a short video. But before you know it, 30 minutes are gone. An hour disappears. You keep scrolling, and it feels like you're doing something. But in truth, you're not living. You're just watching others live. The funny thing is, you don't even notice it happening. You tell yourself, I'll just check for a moment. But that moment stretches into endless hours of scrolling, liking, and consuming. Every post you see, every video you watch, every notification you open, feeds a system carefully designed to keep you there. These platforms are not made to help you grow or become happier. They are built to hold your attention because your attention is their profit. The more time you spend there, the more ads you see, and the more money they make. They study you every second, what you like, what you fear, what makes you angry, and what keeps you awake at night. They use that data to create a personal trap just for you. You think you are using social media, but the truth is, social media is using you. It's using your curiosity, your boredom, and your need to feel connected. It steals your time, your focus, your confidence, and your peace. It gives you a small dose of pleasure every time someone likes your post, but it also makes you anxious when no one reacts. You start depending on digital approval to feel good about yourself. Without realizing it, your emotions become controlled by numbers on a screen. And while you're busy scrolling through other people's highlight reels, photos of vacations, success stories, perfect smiles, your own life is quietly passing by. You forget to look at your own journey. You forget to live in your real world. You begin to compare your behind the scenes with someone else's best moments. And slowly, your happiness starts to fade. You start to believe that everyone else has it better, that real joy only exists in filters, luxury, and followers. But that belief is the biggest lie of all. Real happiness doesn't come from likes or shares. It doesn't live inside your phone. Real joy is found in living, not posting. It's in the sound of laughter with a friend, the feeling of morning sunlight on your face, the peace that comes when you spend time with yourself. The truth is simple. Social media promises connection but delivers comparison. And until you see the trap for what it really is, you'll keep losing time that you can never get back. Part 2. The hidden cost of constant connection. When was the last time you went for a walk without your phone in your hand? When was the last time you watched a sunset without feeling the need to capture it, edit it, and post it online for others to see? For many people, it has been a long time. Today, we carry our phones everywhere, not because we need them, but because we fear missing out on something, some message, some update, some moment happening somewhere else. We've become so connected to everyone else that we've become completely disconnected from ourselves. We live in an age where silence feels uncomfortable and stillness feels strange. The moment we have nothing to do, our hands reach for the phone. We open apps without thinking, scroll without purpose, and absorb endless streams of content we don't even remember minutes later. We're connected to the world, but we've lost connection with our own thoughts, our own emotions, and our own lives. This is the hidden cost of constant connection. Our peace, our presence, and our ability to just be. Every time we scroll through social media, we're exposed to hundreds of images, stories, and moments from other people's lives. On the surface, it seems harmless, even entertaining. But beneath that, something subtle happens. We start comparing our job, our body, our relationship, our lifestyle, our achievements. We start to measure our happiness against the lives we see on the screen. The problem is, what we see online is never the full truth. It's a carefully edited version of reality. People show the smiles, not the struggles, the victories, not the failures. Yet, our minds forget that, and we start to believe we are falling behind. You see your friend's new car, someone else's vacation, another person's perfect family. And deep inside, you feel something missing in your own life. Even if you don't realize it, this quiet comparison eats away at your confidence. It whispers, "You're not doing enough. You're not successful enough. You're not happy enough." You begin to chase approval and validation instead of peace and progress. Slowly, without meaning to, you lose sight of your own path. But here's the truth. You are not behind. You are not late. You are living at your own pace, and that's perfectly okay. Life is not a competition. It's not a race to see who gets the most likes or achieves success. First, everyone blooms in their own season. A flower does not compete with the one beside it. It simply blooms when it's ready. But social media makes us forget this truth. It tricks us into believing that everyone else is ahead, and that illusion fills our hearts with unnecessary pressure. The greatest cost of this constant connection is not just your time. It's your peace of mind. It's your ability to think clearly, to focus deeply, to feel grateful for your own life. When your mind is filled with the noise of 1,000 other lives, your own voice becomes silent. It becomes hard to hear your thoughts, your dreams, your intuition. You lose the ability to reflect, to enjoy solitude, to understand yourself. So the next time you feel restless, try putting your phone away. Go outside. Sit in silence. Listen to your own heart. You will realize that true connection begins not when you scroll, but when you stop. The world inside you is waiting to be heard, but you can only hear it when you disconnect from everything else. That is the real cost of constant connection, and the first step to taking your peace back. Part 3. The freedom of being unavailable. Now imagine this for a moment. Your phone is completely off. No notifications, no messages, no endless feed pulling at your attention. You step outside, and suddenly, the world feels quiet again. You can hear the sound of birds instead of alerts. You can feel the air move gently across your skin. You can see the small details you've been missing. The way sunlight touches the leaves, the rhythm of your own footsteps, the peace in the simple act of breathing. For the first time in a long time, your mind feels clear. You can actually think. You can feel your own presence again. At first, it feels strange. Your hands might automatically reach for your phone. You may feel a small panic, like you're missing something important, some news, some message, some update. That discomfort is not real need. It's withdrawal. You're not missing anything outside of you. You're just meeting yourself again inside. And when you realize that, a sense of calm starts to grow within you. You begin to see that nothing important was ever happening on that screen. The real life, the meaningful one, was always happening around you and within you. You just weren't paying attention. When you stop checking social media every few minutes, something magical begins to happen. Your mind starts to return to you. The constant restlessness begins to fade. You no longer feel the urge to check what others are doing, because you start to feel fulfilled by what you are doing. Your attention, your most valuable power, starts to rebuild. You notice how long your days actually are, how much time you truly have when you're not scrolling. You pick up old hobbies again. You read more, you walk more, you cook, you write, you reflect. You think about your life, your dreams, your future. This is what freedom feels like. Not freedom from technology, but freedom from dependence. You begin to realize that peace does not come from knowing everything. It comes from not needing to know everything. You no longer live in reaction to every sound your phone makes. You start living by your own rhythm, your own time, your own energy. You no longer feel controlled by invisible hands that demand your attention every second. You take back ownership of your focus, and with it, your power. Being unavailable might seem strange in a world where everyone wants instant replies and constant updates. But being unavailable is not weakness. It is strength. It means you've learned to protect your attention, your energy, and your boundaries. It means you're choosing yourself over distraction. In a noisy world, silence becomes your superpower. Freedom is not about deleting your apps forever. It's about taking back control of your mind. It's realizing that your phone is a tool, not your master. The less you depend on it for comfort, the stronger you become. When you can be unreachable, you become untouchable. You're no longer a product of algorithms. You're a creator of your own moments. So, try this. Turn your phone off for 1 hour today. Go outside, sit in silence, and let the world unfold naturally around you. You'll realize something beautiful. You're not missing anything important online. You're finally living the life that's been waiting for you all along. In that stillness, in that quiet presence, you will find a kind of freedom that no notification can ever give you. Part 4. The Power of Real Connection. When you stop living online, something magical begins to happen. You start living offline again. The moment you lift your eyes from the screen, you begin to notice things that were always there but quietly ignored. The laughter of children playing nearby. The sound of footsteps on the pavement. The face of a friend who has been trying to tell you a story while you nod half-heartedly, distracted by a glowing phone in your hand. When you finally put the device away, you feel something real returning. A sense of presence, of belonging, of being part of the world again. You begin to notice people. Really notice them. You listen when someone talks. You look into their eyes without rushing to check your notifications. You smile without thinking about whether it looks good on camera. You laugh freely, not because it's captured in a video, but because it feels right in the moment. You start to connect with people not through filters, comments, or emojis, but through shared silence, shared laughter, and shared understanding. Social media often promises connection, but what it gives is mostly an illusion. You can have 1,000 friends online and still feel lonely inside. You can have thousands of followers and still go to bed feeling unseen. 1,000 likes can't replace one honest conversation where someone truly listens to you. 100 comments can't replace one person who genuinely cares. True connection doesn't need a Wi-Fi signal. It needs presence, attention, and heart. When you spend less time online, you start to remember what it means to be human. You start to feel again. The warmth of human touch, the comfort of eye contact, the joy of being in a room full of people who are actually there with you. You no longer measure your worth by digital approval. You measure it by the depth of your relationships, by the sincerity in someone's voice, by the love that flows quietly between people who care for one another. And something even deeper begins to grow. You learn how to be present. You stop thinking about how a moment looks on camera and start focusing on how it feels in your heart. You're not distracted, not half there, not rehearsing captions in your mind. You're simply here. The sunset becomes beautiful, not because it will look great in your feed, but because you actually take the time to watch it fade. A conversation becomes meaningful not because others can hear it, but because it connects two souls in real time. The truth is, the most beautiful parts of life happen when no one is watching. They happen in the quiet spaces between notifications. The long walks, the simple dinners, the shared laughter that isn't recorded. When you live offline, you realize how much life you've missed while trying to capture it. Real connection is not about showing your moments to the world. It's about sharing your moments with the people who matter. So, put the phone down when you're with someone you love. Give them your full attention. Be curious, listen deeply, and look into their eyes. Let conversations flow without distraction. Because one real connection, built from presence and sincerity, is worth more than a lifetime of digital interactions. The power of real connection is simple. It reminds you that you don't need to be seen by everyone. You just need to be truly known by a few. Part 5. The return of focus and clarity. Your mind is a powerful tool, but like any tool, it can only work well when it's used with care and attention. The problem with social media is that it scatters your focus. It doesn't just distract you for a few minutes. It trains your brain to crave constant change. You open your phone for just a second, but suddenly an hour is gone. Your thoughts feel noisy. Your attention jumps like a restless bird from one branch to another. You can't focus on one thing for long because you've trained your brain to expect endless stimulation. Every scroll teaches your mind that boredom must be escaped. Every notification teaches your brain that something urgent is waiting. And over time, this damages your ability to concentrate, to think deeply, and even to enjoy silence. That's why many people today say they feel tired without doing much. Their brains are always running, but never resting. They're overloaded with information that doesn't matter, and that overload kills creativity, peace, and focus. But here's the truth. Your brain was never built for this level of input. Thousands of videos, pictures, quotes, and opinions in a single day. It's too much. When you scroll, your brain switches topics so quickly that it can't fully process anything. One moment you laugh at a meme, the next you see heartbreaking news. Then you feel envy over someone's vacation, and then you watch a motivational video. This constant emotional roller coaster leaves you drained. You end the day feeling confused and anxious, not knowing why. When you step away from social media, something magical begins to happen. It's like a fog starts to lift. Your thoughts begin to slow down. You stop rushing through life and start noticing small things again. The sound of rain, the warmth of sunlight, the rhythm of your breathing. You start reading longer pieces without losing interest. You can focus on a task without feeling the need to check your phone every few minutes. Slowly, your mind begins to heal. And with that healing comes clarity. You remember what truly matters to you. You start thinking about your goals again, not what others are doing, but what you want. You begin to create, to learn, to explore your own thoughts. You become more productive, but also more peaceful. It feels like reclaiming control over your own mind. You no longer live in reaction mode, where every beep, every post, every update pulls your attention. Instead, you start to choose where your focus goes. That's why some of the most successful and creative people on earth protect their attention fiercely. They know it's the most valuable thing they have. They understand that without focus, there is no deep work, no real growth, no meaningful creation. They might use social media, but they never let it use them. They keep it as a tool, not a trap. When your attention becomes free, your life becomes your own again. You no longer compare your pace with others. You no longer feel anxious about missing out. You no longer live through screens. You live through experiences. Focus and clarity return, and with them, your sense of direction and purpose. You stop reacting to the world and start building your world. And in that quiet, focused space, you realize something powerful. Peace doesn't come from escaping reality through screens. It comes from facing reality with full awareness. It comes from being here, now, with all your senses alive and your heart open. That is the real power of living without social media. The return of your mind to its natural state. Calm, creative, and clear. Part 6. The Peace of Missing Out. We live in a time where being constantly connected has become the new normal. Everyone wants to be in the know. Everyone wants to see, to share, to be seen. The idea of missing out feels almost scary, like if you don't check your feed, you'll fall behind. But when you finally step away from that endless stream, something beautiful begins to happen. You start to feel a new kind of peace, a quiet joy that comes from not knowing everything. It's called the peace of missing out. This peace begins when you stop chasing updates and start living your own moments. You realize that the world doesn't fall apart if you miss a trend. Life doesn't lose meaning because you didn't see someone's post. In fact, it becomes richer. You begin to notice how light filters through your window in the morning. You taste your food instead of photographing it. You walk without checking your phone every few steps. You start to live in life, not just around it. People talk a lot about FOMO, the fear of missing out. It's that little voice that says, everyone is doing something fun without you. But that voice fades when you learn to enjoy your own company. You start to replace FOMO with JOMO, the joy of missing out. It's the calm happiness that comes when you don't care about what you're missing, because you're too busy being present in your own life. You discover that peace is found not in knowing everything, but in knowing yourself. When you live without social media, your attention stops being pulled in 100 directions. You're no longer comparing your daily life to someone else's highlight reel. You stop measuring your worth through likes or comments. Instead, you begin to value your peace of mind. You care less about how your life looks and more about how it feels. You realize that success isn't about being visible. It's about being fulfilled. And something else changes too. You start to enjoy privacy again. You realize that not everything has to be shared, that some things are more meaningful when they remain yours alone. Your favorite memories don't need an audience. The quiet mornings, the deep conversations, the laughter with friends. Those moments grow more precious because they exist only for you. You begin to understand that some beauty loses its power when it's broadcasted. Real moments shine brightest when they're kept private. You also begin to understand that silence is not emptiness. It's space. Space for thinking, for breathing, for dreaming. When you're not constantly checking for new content, your mind finally has room to rest. You begin to feel lighter, calmer, and more grounded. You stop reacting to every piece of news or gossip. You start living intentionally. The noise of the online world fades, and in its place, you find stillness. The peace of missing out is not about isolation. It's about liberation. It's the freedom to live life at your own pace. It's the ability to say, I don't need to be everywhere. I'm happy right here. You no longer feel pressured to post, to perform, or to prove anything. You're content simply being. That's when you realize how much of your energy was wasted trying to stay connected to everyone, when all you really needed was to reconnect with yourself. Not every argument needs your opinion. Not every post needs your reaction. Not every story needs your attention. Sometimes, the wisest thing you can do is to stay out of the noise and protect your peace. That's the true gift of missing out. The quiet confidence of knowing that you are enough, even when no one's watching. You don't have to keep up. You don't have to share it all. You just have to live. Part 7. The Rebirth of Creativity. There was a time when creativity came naturally. You would draw, write, sing, or dream, not to impress anyone, but because it made you feel alive. You created out of curiosity, not competition. But then social media changed the meaning of creativity. It turned it into a performance. Now, instead of creating for joy, many people create for validation. Every post becomes a silent question. Will they like it? Every idea is filtered through the thought of how it will appear to others. Slowly, this constant need for approval begins to suffocate the very soul of creativity. When you're always online, you begin to lose touch with your inner world. You stop exploring what truly inspires you and start copying what others do, just to keep up. You might feel productive because you're posting often, but inside, you feel drained and empty. Your creativity becomes predictable, safe, and shallow. You create what's trending, not what's true. The joy of expression fades, replaced by anxiety. An anxiety that whispers, "What if no one likes it?" And that's how creativity dies. Not with silence, but with noise. But when you take a step back, when you turn off the constant feedback loop, you begin to breathe again. The silence that once felt uncomfortable becomes peaceful. Your mind starts to wander, and in that wandering, something beautiful happens. Your imagination wakes up. You begin to hear your own thoughts again. You start to create for yourself, not for approval. You write words that feel honest. You sketch without worrying if it's perfect. You explore ideas that excite you instead of those that get likes. This is the rebirth of creativity. The moment you remember why you started creating in the first place. True creativity is born in stillness, not in distraction. It grows when there's space to think, to question, to dream. When you're not bombarded with endless opinions and comparisons, your ideas begin to bloom naturally. You no longer rush to share them. You nurture them quietly. You begin to enjoy the process more than the praise. You realize that the best art, the best writing, the best ideas often come from solitude, not from the spotlight. Living without social media, even for a short time, feels like returning to your creative home. Your mind, once cluttered by noise, becomes a garden again. Peaceful, fertile, and full of life. Ideas that once felt out of reach start to flow effortlessly. You find inspiration in nature, in silence, in real human experiences. You start to see beauty in small things again. A raindrop on the window, a quiet morning, a line in a book. These moments, unnoticed in the rush of scrolling, suddenly feel rich with meaning. And the best part? You stop caring about whether your creativity is good enough. You create because it feels right. You create because it heals you. You create because it's who you are. That's when creativity becomes pure again. An honest reflection of your inner world, untouched by algorithms or judgment. When you let go of the need to perform, creativity becomes play again. It becomes discovery. It becomes freedom. You start to realize that the most powerful art doesn't always need an audience. Sometimes, it just needs to exist. And in that quiet act of creation, you find yourself again, brave, curious, and beautifully alive. Part 8. The strength to stand alone. One of the most powerful gifts you gain when you step away from social media is emotional independence. At first, it might not feel like a gift. It might feel uncomfortable, even strange. You've grown used to seeking approval, to measuring your worth through likes, comments, and followers. You've allowed the opinions of strangers on a screen to dictate how you feel about yourself. But when you remove that influence, something remarkable begins to happen. You start to trust yourself. Without the constant validation from others, you begin to realize that your self-worth does not need an external echo. You stop waiting for someone to like your picture or comment on your post to feel worthy. You stop comparing your life to the highlight reels of strangers. You start to see that your journey is yours alone, and it doesn't require approval to be meaningful. That is the first step toward real strength. The kind of strength that doesn't bend with the wind of popular opinion. The kind that remains steady even when no one else is watching. Emotional independence is not about isolation. It's about confidence in your own presence. You learn to enjoy your own company. You discover that being alone doesn't have to mean being lonely. In fact, it can be liberating. You can sit in silence and feel complete. You can pursue your goals without looking around to see if anyone else approves. You can make decisions that feel right to you, even if they seem unusual or unpopular to others. In this space, you cultivate a quiet power, a power that is grounded in self-respect, self-trust, and self-awareness. When you can be alone without feeling lonely, when you can go silent without fearing being forgotten, you unlock a level of resilience that few people experience. You become unstoppable, not because you are disconnected from the world, but because you are deeply connected to yourself. Your confidence no longer wavers with every new post or every trending topic. You no longer chase the fleeting satisfaction of online approval. Instead, you chase your own growth, your own dreams, your own happiness. Standing alone also teaches patience and persistence. You stop comparing your pace to others. You stop rushing because someone else seems ahead. You walk your path with steady feet and a calm mind, knowing that every step matters, even if it's not visible to the world. You begin to understand that life is not a performance. It's a journey. And walking your journey independently, without the constant need for validation, brings a profound sense of peace and fulfillment. This is real strength. It's quiet, steady, and enduring. It's the strength that allows you to face challenges without fear of judgment. It's the strength that lets you pursue your goals without needing applause. It's the strength that comes from knowing that you are enough, exactly as you are. And when you cultivate this strength, you finally begin to live on your own terms. You finally understand that life is not about pleasing everyone. It's about honoring yourself. And that, more than anything else, is the freedom and power of standing alone. Part 9. How to escape the trap. If you feel trapped by social media, you are far from alone. Millions of people around the world feel the same way every day. The constant pull to check notifications, the endless comparison, the creeping anxiety that comes from seeing everyone else's lives on display. It can feel like there's no way out, like the phone in your hand has more control over your life than you do. But here's the truth. Escape is not only possible, it's simpler than you might think. The key is small, intentional steps, repeated consistently over time. You don't need to quit cold turkey, and you don't need to feel guilty for using technology. You just need to take back control of your attention and your life. The first step is to set boundaries. Boundaries create freedom. They are not restrictions. They are shields for your time and energy. Start with something manageable, like 30 minutes a day, and stick to it. Decide when you will check social media and when you won't. Perhaps you allow yourself a quick check in the morning and another in the evening, but no scrolling in between. By setting a clear limit, you train your mind to stop reacting automatically to the pull of notifications. You take the first step toward regaining your focus, your calm, and your presence. The second step is to remove temptation. Turn off notifications so that your phone no longer demands your attention every few minutes. Delete apps from your home screen so that they are not the first thing you see when you pick up your phone. Make it slightly harder to open these platforms, because friction creates awareness. When it's not instantly available, you give yourself the space to pause and ask, "Do I really want this?" Often, that pause is all you need to make a different choice. The third step is to replace scrolling with living. Social media may be entertaining, but it is not nourishing. Instead, choose activities that bring value and joy. Read a book that teaches you something new. Go for a walk and feel the world around you, or pick up a skill you've been curious about. Learn something, create something, or simply enjoy being present. When you fill your life with real experiences, you naturally lose the need to consume someone else's filtered reality constantly. The fourth step is mindfulness. Before you open an app, ask yourself why. Are you bored, anxious, or avoiding something? Are you looking for inspiration, or are you searching for a temporary distraction? Being honest with yourself allows you to respond rather than react. Awareness is the first step to freedom. The more conscious you become of your habits, the easier it is to change them. Finally, celebrate the quiet. Not every moment needs to be shared. Not every experience needs validation. Not every thought needs an audience. Some memories are meant to be yours alone. There is beauty in privacy, in unrecorded moments, in experiences that exist only for you. The more you embrace this, the more liberated you feel from the pressure to perform or be seen. You don't need to disappear from the digital world completely. The goal is not to reject technology. It's to stop being controlled by it. Your phone is a tool, not your life. It can enhance your work, your learning, and your connections, but it should never dictate your emotions, your focus, or your happiness. The more intentional you are with your time, the stronger your mind becomes. The more you reclaim your attention, the more life unfolds for you in real, tangible ways. Escaping the trap of social media is not about deprivation. It's about freedom. It's about returning to a life where you control your choices, your thoughts, and your time. Step by step, boundary by boundary, moment by moment, you can break free from the endless scroll. And when you do, you will find your mind clearer, your creativity stronger, your connections deeper, and your life richer than ever before. The power is in your hands, literally. Your phone is just a tool. Your life is far bigger, far deeper, and far more meaningful than any screen could ever capture. Start small, stay consistent, and watch as freedom returns to you, one conscious choice at a time. Part 10. The real perks of living without social media. Living without social media is not a step backward. It's not about rejecting modern life or pretending the digital world doesn't exist. On the contrary, it's about claiming something far more valuable: freedom. Freedom from constant distraction, freedom from comparison, freedom from the pressure to perform for an invisible audience. When you step back from social media, you begin to see life differently. You notice what truly matters, and you start to reclaim parts of yourself that were quietly lost in the scroll. One of the first perks you gain is time. So much time. Time that was once swallowed by endless scrolling, notifications, and short bursts of mindless content now becomes available for your own life. You can focus on your dreams, your goals, and your personal growth. You can invest in your health, physical, mental, and emotional. You can spend real, meaningful time with the people you love. Time is a precious resource, and without social media consuming it, you suddenly realize how much of your life you've been able to recover. Another powerful perk is peace. The constant comparison to other people's highlight reels disappears. You no longer feel anxious about what everyone else is doing or what you're missing. You stop measuring your worth against curated images and carefully edited videos. In their place comes quiet, calm, and a sense of contentment that grows from within. Peace is not just the absence of noise. It's the presence of clarity, gratitude, and self-assurance. And when you experience it, you begin to see the beauty in your own life rather than in someone else's digital projection. Focus is another gift social media scatters attention in 1,000 directions. But without it, your brain can finally concentrate. Your thoughts deepen, your creativity awakens, and your ability to learn, read, or solve problems grows stronger. Attention is your most valuable resource, and reclaiming it transforms everything. From your work and studies to your personal projects. When your focus returns, life starts to feel purposeful again, and your actions gain meaning. Confidence also blossoms in this environment. When you're no longer seeking validation through likes, comments, and shares, you start living for yourself. You stop comparing, stop measuring your worth through digital applause, and start trusting your own judgment. This confidence is quiet but unshakable. You no longer need approval to feel good, and that independence builds strength that spreads into every aspect of life. Perhaps the most profound perk of all is meaning. Without the noise of social media, you reconnect with real life. The people you love, the places you explore, and the small moments that truly matter. Meals become experiences, conversations become genuine, and walks in the park become meditations. Life slows down, but it deepens. It becomes quieter, yet fuller. You start to feel the richness of being present, the joy of genuine connection, and the simple beauty of ordinary moments. Living without social media is not deprivation. It's a return to yourself, to your creativity, to your focus, and to your happiness. Life becomes slower but richer, quieter but more vibrant. You feel alive again, fully aware of your own journey rather than someone else's digital performance. You realize that the real perks of stepping away are not external. They are internal. They are freedom, peace, focus, confidence, and meaning. In the end, living without social media allows you to reclaim the one thing no app can give: your life. It is not about what you see on a screen. It's about what you feel, what you create, and what you experience in the world around you. And when you truly embrace that, you begin to live in a way that is deeper, brighter, and far more satisfying than any online interaction could ever provide. Final message. Take back your life. My friend, life is happening right now. Not in a post, not in a story, not in a comment, right here in this very moment. Every second you spend scrolling, comparing, or waiting for someone else's approval is a second of your life that you cannot get back. Social media is designed to steal your attention, to keep you distracted, and to make you feel that your worth depends on likes, comments, or followers. But here's the truth. You have the power to take your life and your attention back. You don't need to disappear from the digital world completely. You don't need to reject technology or run from the connections it offers. What you need is to show up for your own life again. To notice the world around you, to connect with people face to face, to explore your own thoughts and dreams without constantly measuring yourself against someone else's highlight reel. The real likes aren't on your screen. They are in your heart. The real followers are the people who genuinely care about you. The real content is your own life, unfolding one moment at a time. On this journey, your channel, English Achieve, reminds you that living fully is just as important as learning. When you step away from the endless scroll, you stop performing and start becoming. You stop comparing and start growing. You stop reacting and start creating. You stop scrolling and start living. Each moment you reclaim builds your focus, your peace, and your sense of purpose. So today, make a choice. Turn off the noise, put down your phone, and return to yourself. Step into the real world, the one waiting for your attention, your energy, and your presence. Your best life is not online. It's not in a notification or a trending post. It's happening right now, waiting for you to participate, to feel, to grow, and to live fully. And remember, as English Achieve always says, don't just learn English. Learn to live better, one thought at a time.